Greetings and salutations, one and all. Welcome to yet another week of the Siege of Middenheim, where I, your host, Jordan, aka Making Games on the internet, take you on a wonderful journey through the epic battle for Middenheim. That is the conclusion of the Siege of the Empire campaign, Dungeons and Dragons campaign set in the Warhammer universe. The help of my loving and wonderful party. Now, as you can see in the right-hand side of your screen there, we're still waiting for a couple of players. I know that Liam was going to be a little bit late, but Marilla and Megan, or I should say Dalton and Megan, did not advise me that they were going to be late. So we will hopefully catch up with them and make sure that everything's okay, and that this is going to go off without a hitch. So, without further ado, let me go ahead and talk to the three people that are here, so we can see how their weeks have been. Hello, anyone? Hello?
Hello.
Hi, Will.
Hi.
Oh, okay, cool. Will and Jackson, you apparently are the only two alive players today. Oh, there's Dalton. Okay, good. We're Gucci.
Where's Meechin?
Well, I'm about to be right back, so I'm gonna get a drink. So.
Okay, fantastic.
I'm prepared.
I don't know where Megan is. She messaged me earlier.
Hi guys.
Hello, Brian.
Hey. Oh, she's on.
Fantastic. There she is. So, without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump around here a little bit, based on the people who were ready in the order that they were ready in. So, Will, hello.
Hello.
How was your week?
Yeah, my week's been good. Been playing a lot of Duck Game with Matt, which is still fun. You should play it more often, Jordan.
Join us.
If I ever have time to play video games, I want to be playing Divinity as long as Megan doesn't abandon me.
He says as he has like 6,000 hours on Dota.
Well, I mean, also Dota. No, I'm sure you guys are terribly good at that game, and I would just become the point bag.
Don't worry, that's Dalton at the moment. So.
I just remember last time we played, and you guys were already better than I was. So.
Yeah, plus there's been new updates and new maps and all kinds of things, so...
Perhaps Duck Game in the future.
Yeah, can I have that in writing, please?
Perhaps there will be a Duck Game stream eventually.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Anything else besides Duck Game?
It's been a pretty quiet week, so all been good.
We get to play Blades on Monday.
Yeah, we did. That was fun after how many weeks?
I think it was like 3.
I'm back, by the way.
Welcome back. Moving on to Jackson. Hello.
Hi.
How have you been doing this week?
I'm good. I'm currently eating mozzarella sticks that I've made myself.
Did you deep fry cheese sticks?
No, I legit made them, breaded them and all that.
So basically, you
happy.
deep fried cheese sticks.
No, I made cheese sticks. Bishop, we're gonna talk in circles, so this keeps on going. So I'm gonna move on. So it's been fairly uneventful. I've started reading Warhammer 40k, the Horus Rising, the Horus Heresy, because I've been told that's a fantastic place to start because it happens before everything.
Yeah. So, do you know anything about Warhammer lore? Or 40k lore, I should say.
Not much. I did learn an interesting fact, though. Did you know that the campaign we're currently playing is based on Warhammer?
Yeah. I did know that.
I figured. Yeah, I learned that the other day. So, But in all seriousness, I was very confused at the beginning because they jump in and they're immediately like, Locor, such a jokester. And then Turva was always the best storyteller in the group. And then start talking, and from what I can guess, this book starts out in is that the Emperor has found Earth. Like, that's how it starts. Or he's come back to it at least.
Mm-hmm.
And then now he's leaving Horus in charge of this campaign, which I'm still not entirely sure what it's for.
Purge all Xenos. I mean, that's usually... You can pretty much sum up any 40k lore and reasoning behind Purge all Xenos.
Yeah, and I love the fact that...
And my greatest philosophy.
I've gotten into so far, and I've kind of figured out there's not really any, like, good factions.
No,
Is there?
No one is good in 40k. There are no good people.
I mean, Space
That
Marines
sounds like heresy, brother.
I mean, essentially, the Space Marines are Catholic Nazis.
Correct.
And from what I did a little bit of research, because they mentioned them briefly, the Alderaan are just huge dicks.
The Eldar, you mean?
That's it.
Yeah, space
They're
elves.
just like huge. They're God. They're fucking horrible. Like, it's just like, you know. I understand the whole like look out for yourselves, but if one of you guys, like, from what I understand, like, if 100,000 like other people would die, but one of their own would survive, they would choose to save one of their own.
Yeah, about right.
And I'm just like, that's a dick move.
Yeah, no, there's no one good in 40k. There's no
like.
To be fair, the best like faction is obviously orcs. Like, they're the only ones who are like have very clearly non-evil methods.
Also,
It's
I had
red
to-
that makes
I
it
had
go.
I swear, I'm going to vote this weekend to fucking finishing it because I can't read it without a computer by my side to look up shit.
Yeah, there's a lot of references and stuff, I feel.
So, like, it's not like a complaint against it. It's a little bit of a complaint against it. But it's fun, you know, to learn and all that. And
Eventually, when I adapt my my character sheet creation into making one for 40k, I'll let you know. We can play the tabletop game.
Also, what spawned...
Did I hear Dark Heresy?
No, you did not, actually.
What kind of prompted this
Good try.
move into 40k was that I have signed a very long lease on my apartment and have decided that I need to spruce it up. And so I bought a bookshelf last weekend, and I thought, what can I fill this up with?
I mean, not books would be the answer. The correct answer, I feel, is figurines of some sort.
I feel these are both correct answers.
Listen, I already have enough expensive habits.
I feel like books are also an expensive habit if you're...
That's what I mean
At
when I
the
say I have
phase.
enough of them. I'm already buying
I can
this. Might
attest
as
to
well buy
books being
certain ones.
expensive.
Yeah.
But I don't want to fill up. I fucking hate it whenever I go, like, whenever I see books in a bookshelf that has obviously never been read. I want all of the books on my bookshelf to have been read.
Yeah, that seems good. Seems like an admirable goal. Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, nothing much.
Dalton, hello.
Hi.
How have you been? Tell us all about it.
Fairly well. Still sleep deprived, so I got that going for me. Been playing a lot of games, a lot of Stellaris. Not as much PUBG as of late. My friend has just been on the Stellaris splurge and been playing that with him. So it's been going good. Work is getting more and more shitty, so that's fun. Because unmentionables are getting ahead. Anyways, I'll just completely bypass that. And I'm going to start my Sunday game again. Because I'm in
You're
a better
a
mood.
masochist.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that too. I am. The masochist part, true. But being in a better mood and taking more control over my life and things of that sort is has definitely, wanting me to do DMing again. So
Good to
taking
know.
a different approach with this one, because I'm definitely trying to more so focus on like character development as opposed to just simple dungeon grind and things of that sort. So
Seems more beneficial for a long lasting.
yeah, and I mean before I didn't really have dungeon grinding because that's what 5e is based on. I didn't want that, but it's got to be like an equal balance of two. The whole premise is going through a tower that is just basically dungeons, but outside character development. So, definitely more of like a Tower of Druaga or Sword Art Online feel is what I'm going for this game. So
Like Sword Art
hopefully it will
Online.
go good. So, other than that, not as much. I mean, just relaxing. People aren't being rats to me, so I got that going.
Well, congratulations, I guess.
Indeed. And I got pizza and Coke, so I'm happy.
Fantastic. Brian, hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Just finished a CPR class. That was exciting.
How's Destiny 2?
I didn't get it because the beta was fun, but it actually got boring very quickly.
Okay.
Kinda like the first one.
How's Path of Exile?
It's all Path of Exile. Yeah. Yeah. Kind of wasting my life away on it.
It's good. It's good to have goals in life.
Kind of okay with it. Yeah, kind of okay with it. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Not gonna lie. Wish I had more friends to play it with, because I'm alone. But whatever. It's still fun, even by myself here. Now I get to play D&D too, so good day. Shh. I sing it enough as is. I don't need you singing it with me. One person song.
One is the loneliest number.
Gonna make me cry over here.
Should we just create a choir of people singing?
Yeah.
lonely
No, this is
songs?
actually the
yes,
Dungeons
we
and
know.
Karaoke stream. Now this is
Do
what
it.
this is.
Plesno.
Megan, you're
Life
the lead
for
singer though, so we need your support here. We're just backups.
I'd like to vote Jericho to be the
Vocalist?
lead singer. So
Well, he's not here, so
speaking of Megan though, hello.
Hello, hi.
How are you?
I am fine. My week was okay. Divinity. Now all I want to do is play Divinity again. Oh my god. I had the most horrific thing happen on my drive to work this morning.
oh no.
So I was driving to work,
Is it a spider?
like the story implies. And I saw up like in the road ahead of me this really adorable woodchuck, and he was like walking across the road. So I was like, oh my goodness, a woodchuck. And I like slowed down so that the woodchuck could cross the road all nice and happy, and I can make it to work and be fine.
Wait, I'm sorry.
So then-
1 second.
I'm
So then-
I'm
So
already
So then, as I
already
slowed
laughing
down,
'cause this is gonna be
as I
great.
slowed down on my side of the road so that cute, adorable woodchuck can go across the road, idiot hillbilly in a massive truck on the other side of the road doesn't fucking see the cute, adorable little woodchuck going across the road, and he fucking slams into the woodchuck. And I started like scream crying in my car as I'm stopped in the road because he literally ran over the woodchuck. And it was even worse because he hit it so hard.
You're crying right now. You're crying.
Actually hit my windshield. Stuck to my windshield. When I was driving to work.
Megan, are you crying right now?
No, I'm like cry laughing because it's so horrible.
Holy shit.
Well, I want to ask you a question. Did you make sure to get out and make sure it's dead, and if it wasn't, to kill it?
No.
Oh,
It
you're
was
just a bad person,
dead.
man.
It was like super dead.
Amazing.
Because he like hit him really, really hard. It made me really sad.
God, I was coughed up and loaded.
That was
This
my morning
definitely
this
seems like the
morning.
wrong group to tell that story to.
That made me really sad. And you're all monsters for laughing so hard.
That's possibly the best story you've ever told.
The worst part about that was the worst part about it. But another bad part about it is, like I said, I had to like when I got out of my car at work, it was still stuck to my windshield, and so I like got out of my car with like napkins and crap that I could find in my car. Which I keep my car very clean, so like I didn't have much in my car. So I got out of my car and I like lean over my hood and I'm like trying to get off my windshield. And two of my kids came out and they're like walking into the building and they're like, "What are you doing, Miss Millette?" And I was like, "Nothing, kids," as I'm like wiping blood and shit off the front of my car. It was such a bad morning. It was such a bad day.
Amazing morning.
I like the image of you like using Burger King napkins to try to wipe off blood and gore.
It was actually Chipotle napkins.
Oh, God.
To be fair, Chipotle napkins are used to cleaning that kind of stuff up, if we're being honest.
Everyone was thinking
So much. Don't ruin Chipotle for me.
I'm sorry, but I gotta say this.
Hey.
Megan, Chipotle napkins can also double as toilet paper.
Ew, stop it. Stop ruining Chipotle. You guys are the worst.
True.
I don't think I've laughed that hard.
It was
I know now woodchucks are actually real things.
Yeah, so then there's Will, who's
Wait,
like, what are all of these words that they are saying? Let me Google. La 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 la.
I mean, I know the song "How Much Wood Could a Woodchuck Chuck If a Woodchuck Could Chuck Wood."
It's not even so.
Here's the joke about that: they don't chuck wood.
They don't, actually.
It's true, actually.
It's just a tongue.
Now you know more about
They're not beavers, Will.
Yeah.
The more you
Wait.
learn.
Also,
What the hell is a
apparently also
woodchuck
they-
then?
wait.
I'm from California. I don't.
No.
Those don't
Woodchucks-
exist.
Hold please. I'm looking at a
Hold.
population map of woodchucks. One second.
Well, a woodchuck is a groundhog.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
basically.
okay.
Groundhogs. Yeah. But depending on where you're from, I
Yeah,
guess you
like,
call them woodchucks.
Gopher, like muskrat, marmot. Those are all kind of in the same family.
Ground
I
squirrels.
still don't really know what a
Yes.
A
one of
prairie
those
dog?
is
Okay, no.
either,
Basically,
but-
they're a ginormous beaver without a beaver tail.
Or teeth.
Mhm.
Well, no, they have teeth. I mean, they're not quite like beaver teeth, obviously,
Right.
but like they still have like rat teeth,
Rodent-like.
rodent teeth.
They're
Anyway.
adorable looking.
They are adorable, and they're not adorable when they get hit by a truck.
Reminds me of the time that
I
I
told
took
you
out a
about
magnum
the
and
time.
shoot one.
I told you about that time when somebody was sneaking, like, kept pets, and he kept a raccoon and a bunch of squirrels, and the raccoon killed the squirrels.
Surprise. Trash pandas for the win.
Fantastic.
I remember walking into that scene. That was horrible.
Megan, anything else that
Love
you
that word.
did all week?
You know, so
No,
be part of a murder.
So just
just the murder that occurred this morning that I
okay,
witnessed.
just the woodchuck murder then.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm actually trying to time like something hilarious for when Jericho shows up to be like, oh yeah, just the murder then this morning, because it would be hilarious.
Oh well.
Murder is hilarious.
Murder is hilarious. It's true. But only when it's of woodchucks, and I can imagine Megan scream crying in her car because that for me is like the fucking cake topper. Like, I feel sad for the animal and all of the other things, but like the image of Megan scream crying in her car at the woodchuck that is now plastered across the pavement.
All right, that's a question that's also going to be
You're a
asked.
monster.
Megan, did you?
That's the
did
part
you
that makes me
scream?
chuckle. Yeah.
I'm sorry. What part of that story was not clear?
Oh yeah, she
I
had,
literally like started screaming like at the top of my lungs, hoping somehow that would make him stop. And then obviously it didn't. So then I immediately started crying because of the result. So yeah,
Hi,
it was
Jericho.
a scream cry.
Hi, Liam.
And of course, those words can be taken in multiple contexts.
Liam, hello.
You might have push to talk on.
Uh-oh. Well, he could hear us at least because he's noted that we could not hear him. Hello, push to talk. Hello.
No, not this time. I just had this ongoing glitch with Discord where the first time I log into it, no one can hear me.
Ah.
Oh.
So that's fun. Anyway, I showed up an interesting time. How you doing, Megan?
I don't want to talk about it.
It's been a very sad day.
Oh, but please, you.
That's okay. I'm just kind of curious as to what sparked the screaming.
The murder.
There's a violent murder I witnessed this morning.
The fuck?
Not of a human being, but of a cute, adorable woodchuck.
I kind of assumed that you didn't mean a human at this point, but I see. Okay.
All we need to know is Chipotle napkins to the rescue.
Now I can't think about Chipotle anymore. You guys are horrible.
As thick as toilet paper and twice as absorbent.
It's true.
Let's just say it was a traumatic drive to work.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
It should be noted, no woodchucks were harmed in the making of this recording. Just in case anyone was clear. That all happened earlier in the day.
Megan, how is it that in this motley band we've assembled, including people like Jackson and Dalton, you're the one who consistently has the most horrifying horror stories when it's just, hey, how was your week?
I'm not sure, but
Because her life is a revolving door of misery.
What the fuck do you think of me?
That you are a psychopath.
What?
Jackson, have you heard any of the stories that you tell?
No, I tend to just not remember them.
Yeah, that
Probably
sounds about
why
right.
you're still capable of interacting in a social manner.
I just, I
I
like to
was
think
eating,
of
you
happy
fuck.
things.
Yeah.
Liam, hello.
Hi.
How was your week?
Time is an illusion, not that different from last week, except that now it's freezing cold. But honestly, that's more comfortable. Job search continues, etc., etc. Let's save a city.
Fantastic. And save a city we will. My week has consisted of I finally finished playing catch up with all of the games that I've been running, so that was kind of a hectic 5-day stretch there of 4 games in 5 days. Tried to play Divinity on Tuesday and Wednesday, got abandoned. Ended up playing Divinity on Thursday after the game, to my sleep schedule's great dismay. But that's okay. We struggled through, and we made it through the day.
You say struggle like it was a challenge to play Divinity.
It was a challenge to stay awake today, is what it was.
I think that at one point I texted Jordan saying, if I sit down, I might fall asleep.
Sure. Yes, those were the words that were sent to me. So, with that being said, I still found some time at work to prepare for tonight because we have another couple of interesting scenarios to hit before we get to the ever tumultuous final scenes of the campaign here. But I did get around to playing some Divinity last night, which was fun. We spent the first 2 hours trying to figure out where we were supposed to go, and then we spent the next 2 hours having found where we were supposed to go and not dying every fight we got into. Because that game is brutal if you are not in the right place.
One level makes a huge...
Yeah, like it's the difference between getting one shot and like struggling through a fight. It's pretty significant. Yeah.
Because I'm almost done with the Original Sin, and
This
I
is the
found
second
that like,
game.
yeah, no, but like I mean, the first one, I was wondering if it was that different from the second.
The first one on regular
Yeah,
is
for sure.
way easier.
Yeah. The classic mode on Divinity Original Sin 2 is probably tuned right where somebody who's played the first games and understands the basic concepts of how the combat is supposed to work, and also understands like the basic idea and premise behind the game, where they are tested to their limits.
Okay, so it's more like that stun, knockdown, and basically anything that stops them from making a turn are the best things you can do each round.
Not in Original Sin 2 though, because you can't do that most of the time to the enemies
unless their armor's broken.
Yeah,
which
unless
is
they're-
a fun /
shit.
horrible new mechanic.
Yeah, so it's cool in the fact that like it allows like healing, quote unquote, to occur by restoring armor, but it also makes you like immune to CC effects and stuff like that. So like you won't slip if your magic armor is up. You won't like catch on fire, and if your physical armor's up, you can't be stunned or knocked down or anything like that, or become bleeding or anything like that. So
it's like
it's kind of weird in the fact that you have to get the armor down to make the thing vulnerable before you can actually control them, but you don't want to control the one that you've already made vulnerable. So it kind of adds this like weird dynamic to it where it
unless
causes...
they're like huge heavy hitters, you're not really going to be using stun often.
No, not at all, actually, ever, really.
Oh, wow.
You kind of just have to eat it a lot of times.
Fuck, that sounds horrible.
Thank goodness Jordan has like 4 ways to be 100% invincible.
Yeah. I'm playing a sword and shield character, and I'm literally like invincible. I can't be killed.
Oh, like Shackles of Pain and...
Yeah, so stuff like that, but like literally I never lose health. Like they never are able to get through my armor because I have like 3 times as much as the rest of the party does. But then the character that I'm playing with, like the NPC character that I'm playing with, Sybil, she's a rogue, and she literally will get killed inside of a turn, like with ease.
She one-shots somebody, and then next
and
turn
then
she
immediately
gets
dies.
forwarded.
Yeah. She can one-shot somebody and then immediately die. So
that you gotta have those resurrect schools handy. Are they a lot more rare? Because I've stockpiled those.
They're way more expensive.
Yeah, it's not rare so much as expensive.
Yeah, we are in the first game. There's a gold deficit in the beginning as well, but then you kind of overcome it. We have not even come close to reaching the point where we're overcoming the gold deficit yet.
We are poor
Okay.
shit.
Have you considered stealing paintings?
Paintings don't actually.
Paintings too. Yep.
Paintings don't actually give you money as much anymore. Yeah. So
the fact the phrase "they nerfed paintings" makes sense.
Yeah. So in the first game, paintings were always worth like a couple hundred gold, which is a lot in that game.
At minimum, yeah.
And it was easy, like you could just carry like 30 of them and then just go sell them to their original owners to get like hundreds of gold.
And they were fucking everywhere too.
In this game too, they honestly, there's not even as many of like things to steal really. I haven't seen. A lot of stuff is like you can just pick it up. There's far less items than to steal than there was in the first game. For sure.
That doesn't sound as fun, because I always liked the fact that I was selling people's own shit back to them.
The best
made me feel...
They get wise to that too in this game.
Oh yeah,
when
so
you
in
steal
this...
something that like somebody specifically owns, and you try to sell it to them, they will call you out on stealing.
Yeah. In addition, like if you steal some items, after a certain period of time, somebody will notice and start. Yeah. They'll like literally like the AI NPCs will come up to you and accuse you of stealing. Like, there's a thief in the area. Can I search your belongings? And like you either have to convince them that you're fine, or if you fail, they try and search you, and then you get into a fight with them.
Oh fuck!
Yeah, so
sounds super interesting, but it makes me feel like I can't be as much of a dick as I was before.
Definitely not.
Because I stole the shit out of everything Esmeralda fucking owned.
Yeah,
she did not have a single thing fucking left by the time
I believe we did too.
Well, she's a bitch too, so.
She's the worst.
Correct. She's the second worst. Evelyn is the worst.
True.
I don't think Evelyn was too bad.
Oh my god, Evelyn's the worst.
She's the worst. Just remember all those hours you wasted on her, Jackson.
No. Here's the thing. I think Aru is such a dick.
Okay, yeah, Aru is actually the worst. Too.
Yeah, because like think about it. Like he's like, I'm totally going to give the stasis.
He's not there
version.
yet.
He didn't.
I'm
hear me
totally
anyway.
no. I'm at the point where I had to make the choice with Aru of saving him, or like letting
Or
him
leaving
stay
him
in
in
the
the
cache.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm like totally gonna fucking make him a human
Well,
forever.
here's
because-
okay.
Oh, no.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Jackson, don't let him out of the cage and assume he's going to help you. I'm just throwing it out there. Because if you let him out of the cage, he literally will just walk away and not help you.
dick! I knew it.
Yeah, like
He's
a bitch.
fucking cocksucker.
Like
I
a
fucking
huge
hate him.
bitch.
Yeah. Anyway.
Like I always hated him because he always seemed like so flippant about everything that he fucking caused.
Correct. Anyway, that's enough about Divinity. It's a great game. You all should go buy both of them and play them.
Not sponsored.
Not wish for sponsor. That's hashtag hope for sponsorship. It's my new thing.
We're waiting, Divinity.
Exactly.
Your move, Divinity.
I'm totally gonna be the Larian Studios hipster though, and be like, they liked me before their game got popular. It's true though.
It
is true. Like they followed me on Twitter, they liked all my stuff, like they showed up to the stream a couple times, like before their second game got so popular and all the big people started playing, they liked me first, so fuck them.
We still didn't get advanced copies.
I don't think anybody did, to be fair. Except for the viewers. Anyway, so seeing as we're 2 minutes over our normal intro time, welcome everybody to the actual part of the show where we play games.
Lies.
You're right, everything is real in this particular scenario. Let's just go ahead and I'm just going to throw everybody just right into it here. So we're in Middenheim, everybody. Congratulations. Last session was spent cleaning up the remainder of the kind of the battle for Southgate, which it will go down in infamy as. In addition to kind of getting everybody back on the path of what there is to do, and having there was actually like a lot of role playing last session, which we all do enjoy. We wouldn't be playing here otherwise. And then everybody kind of laid out what their next step in the plan is, or if they didn't have one, they kind of assumed that they were going to follow someone. I think that some of the more interesting things to happen were the council met again and with Kree and Hannibal and Marilla and Jericho in tow to kind of go over the next phase of the plan. We know that there are a couple of locations that are important. One of those being the park area, in which Jericho, you were interested in kind of observing because there's some like necromantic meeting going on somewhere, possibly in the temple, but also you've had some premonition dream sort of thing that tells you that the park is going to be significant in the upcoming battles. We know that securing the entrances, the two other entrances to the underground are important, both at the Astrology Tower and over here in the Westgate district. Securing those are going to be important because it might allow you to move unhindered, albeit slowly, through the city to attack different areas. Obviously, Ulrich's Temple is where like this necromantic meeting was originally supposed to take place, or where they were supposed to be kind of coalescing before doing whatever they were doing. And also it's important because that's kind of like the shining beacon symbol inside of the city itself, that kind of draws all the people that are Ulrich worshippers kind of in and around. And then the other important piece of the puzzle was resecuring the West Gate, which had kind of been not abandoned, but had been left to its own devices because of the need for the cavalry to get to the South Gate and at such haste. So resecuring the West Gate was also a kind of checkbox that you guys wanted to address at some point. So I think that for everybody's player knowledge, I want to not fast forward, but I do want to try and knock out a lot of these big things in this session, just so we can kind of get through it, and so we can kind of move on to the big set pieces that are in store for us. But that also depends on you guys, obviously. If you guys want to say, fuck Middenheim, we're going north to fight chaos where it dwells, I'm totally down for that too. We can always do that. Roll20 appears to be having issues. I'd be a little sad. I have a lot of stuff prepared. But that's okay. I wouldn't be any more sad than that time you guys didn't go into the sewers twice. Avoided the entire sewer fights and exploration twice. That was fun.
What was this?
In Nuln.
I don't know if you know this about sewers, but hardly anyone wants to go there, Jordan.
Hardly anyone wants to go there. Yeah. Even heroes. Even heroes.
What do you mean even? What do you know about
What do you
heroes
mean?
that I don't?
Especially
Sorry.
heroes.
So, yeah, what do you mean by heroes? Hannibal's in the party.
True. Good point. What do I mean by heroes? That's a fair.
And
fair
I lost
point.
a chess game, so I was kind of bound.
So some other interesting things that happened. Farron now apparently has a bear.
Yeah, Bernadette.
Yeah, Bernadette.
Bernadette.
You are now required to take a point in Ranger.
So yeah,
Is that how this works?
you have Bernadette. In addition, Megan has a bona fide cult, or I should say, Aelin has a bona fide cult. Which is great. It's fantastic for everybody involved. I assume.
Not as cute as a bear.
What do you mean? It's just as
Debatable.
adorable. You have people that will literally die for you. That's so cute.
Yeah, it seems to be this new kind of resurgence of this order of Shalia using Aelin as their figurehead.
So, did everybody else leave Roll20?
Yeah, Roll20 actually broke. It just
Yeah,
The-
decided
Yeah.
decided to fuck itself in the butthole.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
not just me.
Yeah, I assume just refreshing will fix it, or eventually it will fix itself. Yeah, here comes.
I had this problem yesterday.
Like, I'm in, but it just says I'm
Yeah,
the
no,
only
I
one
think
in
I
there.
think we had this problem the other day as well, or like last week or something like that, where everybody just keeps popping in and out. But that's
Okay.
fine.
It was around this time.
With the
That had happened.
Steam reset, except for Roll20.
Exactly.
Also, middle mouse
Sorry.
work. Big pain in the ass.
Yeah, if you refresh, it will come up eventually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
also
I
Roll20's
got
been having problems with the alt zoom lately as well. I noticed that, but maybe that's just me.
I think it's because they implemented the that new feature.
What new feature?
The advanced fog of war. I don't know if you've read up on that.
I feel like I saw something about that, but I didn't know that they had completed it yet. I should look into that.
Yeah, it's out. I mean, it's out for me. I don't know if it's out for everyone else, but
Are you a pro member?
yes, I
Okay.
became a pro member. So, who knows?
I'll have to look into that for sure.
I'm pretty sure that it's out because they had like a little update thing or whatever.
Makes sense. Regardless, however,
Yes.
I think that the only other thing of note was that the army had Cahill's army had moved into the city, kind of en masse now. So far, you guys control 3 districts: the Southgate, the Wind, and Altmarket, and have a bunch of others to control, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be like fighting in the streets. Obviously, there will be some of that. It's bound to happen. But a lot of times it may just simply be positioning forces and taking key areas, or, you know, just driving people out. You know, securing, like, for example, a good example of this would be the Merchant District. Securing the Merchant District might not consist of a fight. It might consist of finding the resources and the people to get, like, the actual, like, factories and blacksmiths and stuff up and running again, so that it is usable. That might be what consists of securing the Merchant District. And securing Westgate might simply be just sparing some troops to sit at the Westgate. That might be considered as controlling Westgate. Ulrichsmund might be cleansing the temple. It might not necessarily mean killing all of the things in Ulrichsmund. It might just be cleansing the temple, and so on and so forth. So it's not always going to be you have to kill all of baddie A so that you can push forward those couple of extra squares. And I want you guys to be creative with it too, as well, obviously. So that's kind of where we sit as far as like starting this session. I think there was one important point that kind of we had been alluding to for quite some maybe even like 2 separate weeks, but hadn't quite got to it, was the fact that Cahill still maintains an injury, and it needed to be addressed. Because Aelin, in all of the hubbub that had occurred, you had not yet been able to see your beloved fiancé.
Indeed.
So perhaps that should be the scene in which we start. But I want to know what your approach here is, Al. Do you, Aelin seems like maybe the kind of person to finish all of the work that she has to do and then retire? Or does the threat of whatever injury he has pull you away? Or do you, try to meet in secret at first so that, you won't be seen shirking your duties? What kind of approach do you have here? Also, now that you have a cult that follows you around.
Yeah, man, it makes sneaking kind of challenging.
It does.
No, I think that Aelin had spent quite some time trying to get things established in the first couple of hours and whatnot past the battle. And I think that actually at the end or towards the end of last session, I had gotten things set up enough and left, I think, Farron, I don't remember actually,
Correct.
at the hospital in air quotes. And I think I was just,
the side of the road where the patients were.
The middle of the road with patients in it. And I think that I was on my way over there.
Okay.
And the cart guy was following me.
Yeah, because you ordered him to not follow you, and then he looked distraught and didn't know what to do with his life anymore. So then you told him that he was allowed to follow you again.
Yeah, I kind of felt a little bad.
If you hadn't told him that, he would have killed himself.
Perhaps. I don't know.
He might have been hit by a massive hillbilly truck, though. We don't.
Oh my God! Stop!
We
I
don't
should
actually-
never have told you that story.
We
Oh
don't
my
actually
God.
know what his fate would have been.
He just gets mowed down.
His
And
fate
she
would have
turns
been
back
just
around.
A fucking interdimensional portal just opens up and a truck just falls on him. And then crushes him.
He's cleaned out with bits of with a Chipotle napkin.
Yeah, just like a rain of napkins falls down around him. Great.
Absorbent.
The fucking worst.
So actually, I do remember now a little bit of what I said last session, because I asking me to remember things in between sessions is like asking me not to sleep in between sessions. So they had set up actually in one of the Southgate towers, and I think that you had actually arrived at that location or were headed to that location.
Yeah, and I remember it was late.
Yeah,
it was a while before I had gotten myself over there.
Yeah, it was nighttime. Also, you were introduced to Dane.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's right. That's what I think prompted me to go over there, right? Because he was like,
yes. Did you? Was
sick.
Archibald the name you also gave?
Yes.
I feel like it was he introduced himself as Dane, and then he told him, "No, I'm sorry, I was mistaken. It's Archibald."
Right. Yeah.
You don't need to know Dane's real name yet. You need to earn it.
So, having arrived there, I would ask actually the rest of the members who were present for the council meeting. You would obviously be offered to stay kind of in this more secured area if you so chose it. So Jericho, Morella, Hannibal, and Kree. Would you be like here, or would you be off doing things?
There's what
Off
else?
doing things.
What else could I be doing at the moment?
So
I mean, sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, Jericho's priority at this point, seeing as everyone is apparently busy playing Risk with his hometown, is to try to haul together people to go scout
Yeah.
out to the Temple of Ulrich, where he's pretty sure some really horrifying magic is going down.
Right,
Apparently,
exactly.
he failed to emphasize that hard enough for people, but okay, typical.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's always
So-
happens. These damn politicians.
Right? So
You
yeah,
know what?
he would be definitely on the lookout for people he would expect to want to either have important skills or just be enthusiastic about going on a scouting mission right now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind actually going on a magic mission.
Well, I mean, you are currently the owner of the horrifying bone staff, right?
You
So
are.
yeah,
Oh shit! Yeah.
you're on Jericho's shortlist.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you could definitely join in on that, Hannibal, for sure.
Yeah, sure. I'd be in on that.
Morella, you said other stuff. What specifically do you think you'd be doing?
That's a good question. I know she doesn't like politics, so I just immediately just like, nah, that council stuff, no. But if Jericho mentioned, hey, we're going on a mission to deal with the temple and possibly bad voodoo magic, she gonna go along because
I don't know if
Yeah.
deal with it was on Jericho's agenda, but
Yeah, find out what's going on there. I think the main concern that he would have on that point would be, do you have any like recent experience in the last 5 years of succeeding on stealth checks?
why? Yes, I do. I made the last one, didn't I? I hope. I don't.
Did
I don't
you?
remember. I don't remember. I do
See,
know.
this is his concern.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm
So
stealthier than the average person. I'll tell you that. So I got that going for me.
with disadvantage.
Actually, no. My feet doesn't give me disadvantage.
Well, there you go.
You have medium armor mastery?
Hell yeah! Why do you think I got 20 AC?
I assumed you were wearing heavy armor.
Nope.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Why do you
So-
think I used a bow too?
Look, I don't know how she works. Morella
no.
has like 4 classes.
It's true.
3.
True.
Why do you think I'm able to rage with armor on?
Anyone can rage with armor on.
Not heavy armor. So,
Not
not efficiently, at least.
anyway.
Anyways.
Okay, so yeah, Morella is one of the people he knows here and is reasonably certain can be trusted, so he probably would bring it up. But
Okay.
I don't know if we're montaging this or if we actually want to do anything in scene wise.
Oh, there's definitely gonna be some scenes where you go see stuff, but yeah, I mean,
Okay,
like
but
if
as
you
far as
find a Morella,
getting
like
the gang together.
yeah, if you find a Morella like after the meeting, what do you say to her?
Yeah, I guess Jericho will sidle up there to say something like, well, I see they're leaping into action as quickly as usual. I am actually concerned that there's going to be something going on at the temple before anybody gets there, particularly if we're going to be trying to retake paths through the sewers before we actually move in on it. So, care to join me on a... What time of day is it? I was going to say evening excursion, but I don't actually know if that's
yeah,
accurate.
it's like it's probably around 7 p.m. ish. The sun is probably set in full, but it's still like just that faint bit of light out, that faint bit of dusk that'll probably subside by the time you literally walk to the center of the city.
Right, okay.
I look at you and rub my eyes a bit as I sigh. I'm like, "Yeah, that's what you need me to do, sure."
Knew I could count on you. We'll probably also pick up Hannibal on the way, given that he's the one with the most understanding of whatever this horrifying dragon is or whatever else they're doing in there.
I know.
Who else can we possibly bring for this? I assume Silny is still with me, if only because I wouldn't be too quick to let her out of my sight.
Yeah, I think you actually specifically told her to stay by your side, basically, at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's
Perhaps Farron.
surprisingly easygoing. Is he not bleeding to death or anything?
It's a good point. You saw him in the battle, but I think post-battle you haven't really interacted with him yet.
should
From what I
probably
remember, he
check in
was
on it.
fine. But yes,
Last
why don't
time
we
you
go
saw
see
him,
it?
he wasn't dead.
Let's go see if Farron's all right and if he's up for this.
Farron, you dead yet?
Nah, man.
So,
Are you on a lot of painkillers?
Yeah, what was that? Nah, man.
Hannibal, I assume that at some point
Has none of you bloody seen Cool Running?
I've seen Cool
Not
Running.
in the last 20 years.
Such a good.
You couldn't have brought out a more old movie reference.
I mean, that's just blatantly untrue.
It's Cool Runnings. How can you not? Anyway.
So,
continue, Jordan.
Hannibal, I assume that you eventually materialize next to Morella and Jericho because your mischief senses are tingling.
I feel magic. Magic that I can fuck up.
Well, how's your understanding of that bone staff we stole doing?
Better than yours.
Fantastic, but literally anything about it, including its in precise physical dimensions, would be more than I know.
I understand about
I left
half
it with you
of
because you were half. Which half?
Specifically 4/10.
How do you even judge something like that?
Like he has a clock or something.
Yeah. So I think that what you
totally
do know,
appropriate for Hannibal.
yeah, it's totally appropriate for what he would say, right? Like he would just assume that he is about 40% of the way done figuring out what's going on with the staff. But I think that what we determined you actually do know about it is that it has an array of talismans that are attached to it.
And they all have and they all are belong to a respective school of magic.
Yes, correct. And then they all also that the dragon one is representative of when you try and control something, you need a piece of it to control.
So yeah, the dragon tooth was enchantment,
right?
Or
exactly.
conjuration. It was one of those two.
I think enchantment was the dragon tooth. Yeah.
Yeah. So this one was enchantment. So technically, I should probably say this to him. I can make that thing lose complete control.
Is that not what it's already doing?
No. Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, Hannibal's a fun expert to have around.
I don't know. We could just join and see what happens. I mean, the worst thing that happens is... Let's not talk about the worst case scenario, actually, because that'd be depressing.
Correct. Yes. Good. Okay. Well, let's...
Hundreds, possibly thousands of deaths.
Let's go find Farron.
Okay. Well, as far as we know, that creature isn't in the city and hasn't been seen here since Farron and I last saw it.
Yeah, so it's heading towards the capital.
Let's concern ourselves instead with the things that are definitely inside the city. But feel free to bring that along. It might be useful for bluffing or breaking some kind of other spell, or at least threatening them.
Yeah, I imagine there's a lot of things they don't want broken on this. And then what was the thing that was conjuration? What was the item?
I think it was I recall IIRC. It was like a glass bead of it was orangish slash red, and it kind of changed hues in the in different lighting.
Okay, yeah.
So.
I forget what was the. Sorry, I'm trying to remember the staff because it's been a while since we fucking talked.
Yeah,
about
I don't think you were able to identify everything on it, but I think you were able to identify a couple of the things and what they were associated with.
What was the? Well, I used detect magic, which allows me to identify schools. And that's how I kind of found the dragon tooth.
Correct. So you all head off to the sound of the roaring bears. But in addition, the hospital, or at least triage center that's kind of been set up in the middle of the crossroads. And it's probably not hard to spot Farron, like, people, like, coming to him with orders. Like, he's probably got, like, a scroll in his hands, and he's, like, scribbling on it. And you can mask your approach until you're kind of, like, right up on him, because he's a little busy right now. You also, if you didn't notice before, even though I think I specifically called it out, a lot of the people, like, in this immediate vicinity have that weird patch that's been kind of embroidered onto their clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, how long have I had this staff?
Long enough.
Couple of days.
Yeah, it's
been over a week, at least.
No.
Yes, because I remember I rolled massive.
No, it has not.
It hasn't?
Nope, it has not been over a week. It's been I think about 5 or 6 days.
Okay, so I'm half attuned to it. Got it.
Yeah. So.
Pray that we don't come to the point where Hannibal's fully attuned to this thing.
We're trying.
Already on it.
So, you meet with Farron, and what do you... you guys have the opportunity to speak first.
Farron.
Oh, good.
Yes, just put that over there. Mirella.
How are you doing, Farron?
I'm doing alright. A few scratches here and there, but otherwise I'm okay.
Seems you have a new friend, and I look at Baronet.
Yeah, he was just laid down in the corner, just waiting.
Lying in wait. Jericho wishes to look at the temple again. He feels something is perhaps up with it.
We
Why'd you
have
come along?
some fairly critical information. There could be some kind of horrifying ritual going on there, but that doesn't seem to bother anybody else. Care to join us, Farron? You would be a bit more suited to scouting than some of the people that we have on hand, and unless you're already too busy conducting here.
To be honest, I'm perfectly fine with whatever ritual's happening. This just sounds more interesting.
The hospital is mainly got under control at this time. Do we have any plans for when the armies will head out?
Depending on what we find, I suspect we may have some new points for them to consider before they head out, or hurrying them along their way.
The only say is, it appears I have temporarily gained control of the bear riders.
Right, so they haven't actually mistaken you for someone else. This is all intentional.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Well done. Are you... How?
I'm still trying to figure that one out myself, to be honest.
Okay, I feel better.
Is it not obvious? Obviously, you're a good leader, Farron.
Yes, it's obviously down to my cunning charm and quick wits.
Right, but this is a foreign legion.
Not that foreign. These are my home people.
Really? I always took your accent for Bretonian. But look, that's not the point.
Fair point.
I wasn't aware that you had any experience in the bear cavalry. Did they call you up out of the reserves or something?
The sores on your bottom from riding a bear that you're not used to flare up almost instantaneously, Farron.
It's less that I'm riding the bear and more the bear is letting me ride on it.
You must have had a hell of an interview. Right, well, if you're busy with that, don't let us drag you away. We're just going to go see if everyone in the city is about to die while the army is napping.
Hey, we fought a hard-won battle here.
That we did. Now, are you
Right,
coming or not?
not really commenting on that so much as the fact that a tremendous number of necromancers and who knows what other kinds of wizardry are unaccounted for, and we still don't actually understand what their plans are here in the city.
Right. So, Farron, are you coming or not?
Let me just talk to my second in command, and
Why doesn't this seem weird to anyone but me?
So Farron's voice
Hannibal is
lowers.
bored talking at this point.
Farron's voice lowers to a whisper as he says that, probably. Because probably coming around the corner, you see Daniela, who's got a very angry look on her face. She's kind of like stomping, and she's got this little posse of people behind her, who are all in like kind of mismatched armor, and like sword belts that are far too big for their waists, and like scrawny, not really fighters, but they're kind of like marching up behind her, and you can tell like she will hit one of you if you say anything cross right now.
I don't think I can help it.
Please say something.
I just have to say, oh look, it's the right hand of Her Most Holiness.
Oh yeah, perfect, absolutely. So roll me a dexterity saving throw.
This is the first one in like I think about a year. Just
You can use your ring. You can use your ring.
I know. My magic item, which I've had since the beginning of Farron, I can possibly actually use it.
Nope, don't need it.
Okay. She goes to like stomp down and pretend like she's walking like immediately on your foot, and you deftly kind of sidestep away, without letting it fall. And daggers come flying out of her eyes, at your heart, but she kind of passes it off because she can't let the bad image say anything. And so she simply kind of looks and sees the other three of you kind of geared up to go, and she catches wind of what may be happening here, and she just holds out her hand like, "Come, give it to me. I'll take care of it."
Give what?
She's holding her hand out to Farron for like the documents that he has or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I assume you roll them up and give them to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she probably just like shoos you away. She's like, "Okay, go. Must be off now. Lots to do. Don't know if we'll be getting any sleep tonight." And she kind of like, looks up at the waning light as it disappears over the horizon. The stars are beginning to come out. You can see that there are some fires and burning in the city from various things, but the biggest one you can see is actually to the north, where this green tinged smoke is kind of just rising into the air steadily.
Okay, sorry about that.
Exactly.
But you know what? Fuck it. I'm not going to apologize. Deal with it.
So,
Just warp over there now.
Baron, you secure your items and begin to head off with them. So the five of you can basically go off on your scouting mission. And that leaves the two back at the camp for now, Kree and Aelin. So, Aelin, we know what you're doing, and we'll get to that in a moment. But Kree, I want to find out what you've been doing this whole time, because we haven't really talked to you yet.
I actually want to go and meet up with what's left of my troops and just kind of check what state they're in.
Yeah, so they're pretty decimated. I'm gonna roll I'm gonna roll a check, and this is the check for these two particular units that might be important at some point. Here they are. Roll a Constitution saving throw. Okay, not bad. Your troops actually recover quite a bit from the initial kind of onslaught. So let's. So your troops are at a little above half capacity as far as like after like riders are changed over to new mounts and new mounts are changed over to riders and everything's kind of divvied up and the ones who have minor injuries are tended to and kind of put back on mount. So they're a little over half strength right now. So you're going to be out like kind of carousing between the troops. What do you busy your time with, I should say?
Probably checking in with all the mounts that are sort of just left out, because I'm betting we have more mounts left than we have riders.
Yeah, for sure.
I need to find a place for them to set up, unless they're just gonna go wild in the city, and that's not a good idea with cold ones.
Correct. Okay. So I think that if you want to try and coordinate all that, why don't you make me an animal handling check? To see how well your coordination of kind of wrangling up the lost mounts, because there probably requires some scouting too, like mounts that are kind of scattered around the battlefield still. Yeah, 14's not bad. But there's definitely, I think, still some that are still rampant and wild throughout the city. Maybe they're hiding, or maybe they like got lost or got turned around and are hiding in the alleyways. They may pose problems for you or your enemy later, but for now, you've wrangled up probably most of the concerning issues and able to kind of coordinate them in some sort of maybe temporary paddock, or in some temporary, like maybe there's a particular like set of houses that were for securing livestock that you've kind of like taken over and reinforced the fences and are able to store the cold ones in a relatively safe area.
Good thing to unleash upon the enemies.
Perhaps
when the time comes.
Perhaps indeed. What else? What else are you doing, Kree?
After that, I'm probably actually just gonna stay with the council for a little bit. I'm gonna stay with oh my god, I never remember his name. Cahill. I'm just gonna stay with Cahill, make sure he recovers, while most of the other guys are out and about.
Yeah, so I think that while you're out doing that, Aelin, we see you arrive kind of at the doors to the gatehouse where Bayhill is staying, and
ooh, I like it. Continue.
Yeah, and it's that moment of like you open the doors and all the hushed whispers that were kind of in the room from the council and like the other important people that are here, probably like some generals and some lieutenants and stuff. It kind of like dies out as you enter. For whatever reason, I think you're getting like a lot of looks. Like there's a lot of people kind of staring at you because, first of all, they haven't seen you in like 2 weeks, right? Almost 3 weeks now, I think, actually, if we're going by real time. And in addition, there's some weirdness that happened with like all of your followers and stuff. Also, ow. They know that they know that you're Kale's fiance now, and you didn't really have a whole lot of time to kind of like assert yourself as that before you left. Like there wasn't like a whole lot of like, Cahill doing introductions of like, yes, this, like, if you haven't met her, this is my fiance. this is the future Empress, right? Like there wasn't a whole lot of that. So there's like, it's not necessarily cold, but almost like wary tension in the air, like not wanting to do or say the wrong thing, but also not wanting to like, you know, show weakness either, in case that's what you would reflect on. Because I think that Aelin, in a lot of senses, prior to her being thrust into the spotlight, lived in the political landscape of things probably very reserved and like behind the curtain, like, you know, with the people, not really involved with this kind of thing, right?
Yeah, this could not make her more uncomfortable.
Yeah, and
like put her in the middle of freaking, you know, the hospital at highest max capacity of people dying, and she won't even, you know.
Yeah, is there a
not
moment?
A single bead of sweat, but like she walks into this room, and I think that it's like she is as close to a panic attack as I think she's ever experienced.
Yeah, is there a moment where you're just like, I could just go to the hospital? Like, I'm sure.
No, I think, okay, so I think she walks in and like, as you say it, there's like a hush that happens,
Yeah.
and she kind of, I don't think, for some reason in her brain, wasn't really expecting everyone to still be here.
Right.
I think she kind of has lost track in, you know, in doing what she's been doing. I think she's kind of lost track of time and kind of like where everybody is, and she was kind of one track mindset of just, oh, I gotta go check on him, and then all of a sudden realized what she walked into, and she's like, fuck. And so I think she kind of takes that moment of like, I could just come back later. They won't notice if I just like walk back out. I have other things that are really important, but obviously the panic, I think, subsides and realizes that she can't do that. So yeah. I think she like does one of those, straightens herself, because now she's self-conscious. So now she's like, okay, I probably have blood all over me, and haven't showered, and probably look fantastic. So I think she's like, she kind of like adjusts her robes a little bit, and maybe like takes a few wisps of hair that might be sticking out and kind of puts them behind her ear, and just kind of like stands there.
Yeah, it's probably important to emphasize as well, like, you have a naturally regal look about you because you're literally an angel, right? Like,
true.
There, like, even through all the dirt and grime, there's a lot of people who would like look at you and be like, "That's a noble." Like, it in another situation where someone, you know, were you to be playing, if you were trying to disguise yourself as a commoner, you would have disadvantage in all those checks, basically, because it's just too hard for you to actually disguise yourself as like a normie, if we're using air quotes. And so yeah, you walk in and you proceed like up the set of stairs that leads up to perhaps like the it's probably like the guard captain's, like the captain on duty's room has kind of been molded and taken over by Cahill. And as you walk in, I think you hear Cahill like cursing. He's like, "Thrice damned healer, don't know what you're about. Just hurry up already," right? And then like as you walk in, and he turns and you can see like there's this maester who is not magical in any way, but he's probably like stitching Cahill up, because the arrow probably punctured all the way through his shoulder and out the back. So Cahill's got like his shirt off, and he's got like bandages that are now pulled down, and you can see the maester like stitching up the wound behind him. And he opens the door, and Cahill like kind of turns around quickly to like be offended by whoever came in the door. And then sees you, and obviously his expression softens immediately, and kind of like stands up and like rips the needle that the guy is using to like stitch up his wound like out of his hand, and like more fresh blood starts to like run down his back. And he actually, as he stands up, he kind of wobbles for a moment, like almost as if he's dizzy, and kind of like has to grip onto the table that he's probably been laid upon. And then he eventually like rights himself and starts making his way over to you, with like kind of his natural smile that he has, but also appears pained at the same time.
Yeah, so I think her immediate, absolute joyous smile at seeing him again, immediately the second seeing him like wobble, just kind of turns to worry. And I think she immediately like rushes over, and she's like, no, just sit down, let me, and like goes to reach for the the needle and thread, as it were, to try to stitch him up herself.
Yeah, and the maester defers to you in this scenario, and probably like does that thing where like he silently kind of like backs out of the room and closes the door and leaves you alone in there. And Cahill probably says, I'm sorry, but it is only a scratch. It's fine. I've taken much more severe injury in training.
Aelin examines it closely.
You want to roll a medicine check?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. So 24 there is going to net you a little bit of information. You can see that the wound appears clean enough. It looks like kind of your typical arrow wound through and through. It's in a meaty part of his shoulder, so it's not really going to cause any long-term damage. He might have some difficulty like lifting his shield arm for a little while, but overall he'll probably be fine. But I think you notice just the tinge around the edges of the wound, the edges of the skin around the wound, appear to kind of be more discolored than they should be. Obvious sign of maybe infection or some type of, some other type of thing at work here. But definitely like where the sapping of the strength is coming from him, right? Definitely the source of that ailment. And also you notice that there's probably like you probably look around the room too, and you notice that there's quite a few bandages that have been bled through already. And you can tell that the wound is still like actively bleeding as you're even sewing it up. Like you can see like it's not sealing, like almost like there's a blood thinner in the wound that's keeping it from coagulating. So blood loss might also be an effect there. Yeah, okay, good. Tech poison disease. So immediately poison comes up almost instantaneously as you look at it. And are you doing is this possible ritual, or are you doing this as a actual level 1 spell?
It is possible. I don't know what like.
So yeah, it takes 10 additional minutes to cast it as a ritual.
Yeah, I would do it as a ritual.
Yeah, so basically like as you're like tending him, you can like begin to run through the ritual process. Maybe you light a candle and say a quick prayer and then begin like tending him as you speak the words under your hushed breath or whatever. So yeah, poison comes up immediately, but not any that you can really like. You can identify the kind of poison, but it actually appears that it came from a creature of some sort, because it does say that you can identify the type of poisonous creature, and you can kind of tell that there's that taint on this poison of like the chaotic energies that are kind of flowing through it. So in addition to being poison, it's also being perhaps from some magical creature, which makes it obviously even worse than just your typical average assassin's poison.
Does this remind me of anything like what I saw from those that were injured from the I don't know what to call it, the like the dragon acid or whatever? Do you remember how I like how they had like some weird
hellhounds?
Was it that? I don't actually remember now, but I remember making a few rolls.
Yeah, it was the dogs. It was the hellhounds. Back when you guys were still on the road. It is very similar to that, actually.
Poor puppers.
Yeah, because remember, all the dogs were dying from this disease that the hellhounds had. Because it was dog versus dog, right? When you guys like went out from Middenheim to fight in the fields, or when Hannibal did at least. And then when you guys arrived, there was like a lot of injuries to the animals that they weren't able to recover from. And there was also, you remember too, on the people, like the scouts and stuff, they had those wounds that would constantly fester and never quite heal. Yeah, this is very similar. Yep.
The same, or at least a similar feel.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So, do you do anything with that information, or do you simply like continue to apply a bit more cloth to the wound? And it should be noted, like, if you're remaining mostly silent during this procedure, Cahill probably like talks for a while about, you know, how good it is to see you, and like, you know, it's I'm glad that we can finally be reunited. But then, like, seeing that you're in concentration because you're like casting the spell, right? He kind of like trails off perhaps a bit silently and just kind of lets you do your work. And when it completes and you like get this information, are you able to hide it on your face well?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and so he probably like looks a bit troubled. He's like, Dove, what is it?
It's what I thought. It's poison of some kind. It reminds me of something horrible I've seen before. You've had to know that, right? It hasn't healed this whole time, right? Like, she's trying to like pull a little bit more information out of him without kind of making it worse.
Yeah, and he kind of like looks away, like, you know, you've caught him in the lie, right? Like, that he's been telling everybody that he's fine. So he kind of like looks away and then looks back to you a bit harder, and he says, "Others can't know. You can fix it, right?"
I'll try everything I know. I don't know if I can or not, though, if I am being honest.
Well, my natural healing has always been, well, us Cahills are a stout family. I'm sure that I will pull through.
Yeah, and I think she kind of like touches his face when he says that to like really get his attention. And she just says, "I'm sorry, this wouldn't have happened if I stayed." And she like looks away and she's like clearly ashamed.
Yeah, and I think he like grabs your hands, right, and like pulls them close to him, and he says, "Nonsense. It would be far worse if it had happened to you. Then no one would be able to save." And he kind of like smiles and gives you that like reassuring glance that like, I know you're the one that can do this. Like, I know that you are the greatest healer in all the lands, and if anyone can solve this problem, it's you.
She just kind of nods and gives him a half-hearted smile, but you can tell she still feels guilty.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, he knows that he's not going to be able to. He knows you well enough to know that he's not going to assuage that just simply by telling you. And I think that he probably smiles and he says, "Come, let us enjoy at least the night air while I can." And like drags you up probably to like the top of the wall where we maybe like see you and him kind of like standing in the moonlight, right? On top of the tower, as we kind of see the other four travelers, Jericho or five actually with Silney, Jericho and Hannibal and Morella and Farron, like hoods up now, right? Like pacing through the city. We see the silhouette of Aelin and Cahill kind of standing atop the guard tower, reunited at last, although in dire circumstances, perhaps. So the four of you plus Silney, because I won't say the five of you because she's a little bit of a wild card.
She's fine.
You all begin heading off in the direction of. Hold on. Stand by 1 second. I apologize.
Don't talk that way about my future wife.
Yep. Okay.